All right, welcome to another video. This video I want to do on Genesis chapter 17, and I want to show you guys something. So I've been reading for a minute, and I was trying to figure out what a best place to start was, because the whole chapter is like really good, like so much good stuff in here. But I want to start in verse 9. So that's Genesis chapter 17, verse 9. And God said to Abraham, "As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you throughout their generations." Okay, so he's saying you have to keep my covenant. You're going to keep my covenant, you and your descendants forever, after all their generations, forever. Okay, and it says, "This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your descendants after you." All right, so he's telling you this. I'm going to tell you what the conditions of the covenant are. So these are the conditions of the original covenant that Yahweh made with Abraham. Okay, every male child among you must be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male in your generations. He who is born in your house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not your descendant. Okay, so up to this point, Abraham has two children. He has not had Isaac yet, so he only has one. He has Ishmael. Okay, so Ishmael is his only child. So in this, we know that everyone else in his household were not Hebrews. Okay, they were not Gentiles, but they were not Hebrews. Okay, so these are the descendants of Shem and Ham. Okay, so they picked up people in different places, in different as they went along. Okay, of course, you know that Hagar was Egyptian, so they picked her up when they went through Egypt. That was one of the gifts that Pharaoh gave to Abram when he desired Abram's wife. Okay, that Abram lied to. So he was given a lot of possessions as gifts, okay, for to marry his wife. But Yah, of course, intervened in that, okay, and that didn't happen. But he kept all the things that Pharaoh gave him. And then as they went through Damascus and other places, other people gave them gifts, and he also inherited different things from in Haran when Terah, his father, passed away. He inherited all the cattle and the people who were with his father. Okay, so he has a lot of stuff going on. He got a lot of possessions, a lot of people that were born to him, or that were born in his household. Okay, so Yah is including everyone who is born in his household, not just he himself, and his wife, and his children that came from him, because he only has one child. All right, so what is this meaning? This means that you do not have to be of the lineage of the Hebrews to be a Hebrew. Okay, what you have to do is do the other parts of the covenant, because this is a covenant relationship. This is not just a lineage relationship. Okay, so verse 12, it says, "He who is 8 days old among you shall be circumcised, every male child in your generations. He who is born in your house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not your descendant." Okay, he who is born in your house and he who is bought with your money must be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised male child who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Okay, So I want you guys to understand that's the terms of the original covenant between Yahweh and Abraham. And it was basically between him and all the people who lived in his household, whether they were bought or whether they were born. Okay. What does that mean for today? Okay. We have a different relationship with people nowadays. When people are hungry and starving, they don't just go and join themselves to someone else, to someone who has more. It doesn't work that way nowadays. But back then, that's how it worked. If you were, once people saw that Abraham had the blessings of Yah on his life, they immediately gave their children to be his servants so that they can have the blessing on their life. They were trying to change the trajectory of their children, their descendants, okay, so that they would have a better life. Even though they were, Pharaoh's daughter, he gave his own daughter to be their servant, the princess to be a servant to someone else, because that's how much of a, that's how much he understood Yah's promises. Okay, that's how much he understood when Yah blesses you, everything about you is blessed. Okay, and everyone who touches you, who comes in contact with you, who are connected to you, I should say, are blessed right along with you. Okay, so, but that doesn't happen nowadays. So nowadays, it's pretty much just everyone says, okay, yeah, I want to be kind of like you. But this is not a thing to be kind of like somebody. Otherwise, the Jewish people who are in Israel right now, the Israelis, they would also be considered part of Yah's covenant, right? Because if it's a kind of sort of thing, but you don't really have to follow all of it, then they would immediately, they would be automatically put in and as Hebrews, okay, as the children of Israel. But they're not. Yah sees them as the synagogue of Satan. So it is not so much I have done what you said. It is more or less I am joined to your people, okay, and we are one. All right. Now I know that Yeshua says he has flocks that were not of Israel. He had other flocks that Israel didn't know about. Okay, and they know his voice and they follow him. Okay, so there are other believers out there who also follow Yah's commands and do everything that Yah called them to do, and Yah has made a covenant with them. But as far as like the westernized ways, you really need to be careful that you're not being kind of sort of like them, but that you are establishing a covenant with them. Let me back up a little bit because there's something in here that I want to make sure that you guys understand. Let's see. Let's go in verse 6. It says, I will make you exceedingly fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings shall come from you. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant. So Yah is saying he will, I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you in their generations. So what we are looking for is for Yah to establish his covenant with us personally, because it says right here, he will establish his covenant between me and you and your descendants after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be there, to be God to you and your descendants after you. And I give to you and your descendants after you the land in which you are a stranger, all the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. Okay, so what we're looking for is for Yah to establish his covenant with us personally. That is what we're looking for. Okay. that makes sure that we have his covenant and we are not just out here doing things. Okay. Like, I never wanted to just be a follower of the word without action, without making sure that what I'm doing is pleasing to Yahweh. Okay. And I want to know that I'm pleasing to Yahweh. I don't want to just in faith, oh yeah, I'm doing what Yah called me to do. No, I want to know with proof that what I'm doing is right in Yahweh's sight. So I'm always asking him, am I doing what's right? Are you pleased with me? Are you happy with how I'm doing this? I'm teaching lessons. Are you happy with the way I'm teaching lessons? Do I need to change the style? Do I need to change what I'm doing? Do I need to change what I'm saying? Okay. And he directs me as I go along. That is how I know that I am in covenant with Yah, because I ask questions and he answers. It's not a one-sided thing of I'm a fan and I do things according to the word, hoping that in the end he recognizes me. No, I want to know that you recognize me right now. I don't want to wait my whole life just to find I was doing it wrong. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of making sure that Yah has made a covenant in your generation with you. Okay, and because he did make this covenant with Abraham immediately, in verse 23, it says, so Abraham took Ishmael his son, all who were born in his house, and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskins that very same day. The same day he was told to do it, he went and did it immediately. As Yah had said to him, Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised. So Abraham wasn't even circumcised yet, okay? In the flesh of his foreskins. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. That very same day, Abraham was circumcised, and his son Ishmael, and all the men of his house, born in the house or bought with money from a foreigner, who were circumcised with him. Okay, so he made sure that that everyone who was in his house became just like him, just as Yah ordered. See, that's faith, stepping out and doing exactly what Yah says expediently. There's a lot of people who they believe that Yah spoke some things to them, but they won't go out and do it. They won't go out and actually make it happen, what Yah wanted, because for whatever reason, okay? But this is where faith comes in. It is hearing the word, acknowledging it, that yes, what you're saying is true, and then following through to make that thing happen, okay? But that's it. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that, you know, what was the original intent, the original thing that made Hebrews, okay? And that was the covenant, all right? All right. See you in the next video.